Guys, Ferrari is on an absolute tear right now. After Leclerc's victory at Silverstone, Toto Wolff publicly admitted, "Ferrari has done something on the energy side." That one sentence is worth its weight in gold because it reveals the real secret behind the red car. 15 kilowatts of gain, roughly 20 horsepower, now working on every single track. And there's more. Leclerc confirmed it without any hesitation. He can bring this upgrade to every circuit on the calendar. It's not a Silverstone-specific fix. It's a structural change to the SF26. But the real bombshell is something else entirely. Ferrari already has a third aerodynamic package in preparation for Zandvoort after the summer break, and A-Duo 2 is coming within 5 races, most likely at Monza. The focus this time is on the Turbocharger, and there's a stunning behind-the-scenes story from Silverstone 2. Ferrari used a small hybrid boost above 50 kilometers per hour at the start, because the smaller turbo simply wasn't enough anymore. We're going to break down every detail, but first, hit like, subscribe, and stay with us until the end. Friends, Silverstone delivered a victory, a double podium, and a speed trap reading that Toto Wolff described on Sunday afternoon by saying, "Ferrari has done something on the energy side." That statement, coming from the man who leads the team that has won every race but 2 this season, was the most significant public acknowledgement that the competitive picture of 2026 has genuinely shifted. But here's what Wolff didn't say. What Ferrari found at Silverstone isn't the ceiling. It's just the beginning of the discovery. The 15 kilowatts gained through the combination of aerodynamic efficiency and energy management were described internally as almost a game changer, a number that produced speed trap results that shocked Ferrari's own engineers. That gain handed Hamilton the sprint pole and gave Leclerc the platform to build the winning advantage before Antonelli's mechanical failure changed the narrative entirely. 15 kilowatts translates to roughly 20 horsepower. At the Silverstone speed trap, that means the difference between Hamilton's 323 kilometers per hour and where Ferrari had been sitting at previous circuits. It's the margin that moved Ferrari from 4th at the speed trap, which had been their typical position all season, all the way to 1st. But what makes this story bigger than just Silverstone is the word Leclerc used. He didn't say Silverstone suits this approach. He didn't say certain types of circuits. He said every single track. He said he can definitively bring the modification made that weekend to every circuit, and it's given him the confidence to take a step forward from here on out. A structural change in how the SF26 manages its energy, one that translates across every layout on the calendar. Personally, I find that statement extraordinary. When a driver who has been cautious all season about overpromising suddenly says a modification works everywhere, that's worth taking very seriously. If the simulator has correctly predicted every circuit from Belgium onwards, that's a fundamentally different proposition for the SF26 than it was before. Now let's look at the development plan. Ferrari has completed 2 major aerodynamic packages in 2026. Miami was the first with 11 pieces, the single largest upgrade brought by any team to any race this season. Barcelona was the second, covering the front wings, the floor, the side pods, and the wheel covers. That package transformed Hamilton's car into a race winner and produced the kind of tire management performance that the entire paddock spent 3 weeks trying to explain. The third package is now being built at Maranello. The team under Loic Serra is targeting the Dutch Grand Prix at Zandvoort for its debut. Zandvoort is an interesting circuit to target. It's medium-high downforce with a mix of high speed and technical corners that reward aerodynamic balance over pure maximum load. It doesn't expose the SF26 straight-line limitations as severely as Spa or Monza will. The package gets to prove its cornering efficiency first. And here comes the second major revelation. The first A-Duo token, which brought combustion chamber changes and a reformulated shell fuel introduced in Austria, produced a modest but measurable improvement. That gain was masked at the Red Bull Ring by altitude and thermal conditions, then fully revealed at Silverstone. The second token is different in both scale and objective. Ferrari's engineers have specifically identified the turbocharger as the area with the greatest remaining improvement potential relative to the frontrunners. Ferrari deliberately chose a smaller turbocharger before the season began, prioritizing launch performance over maximum straight-line power. The Federation then changed the pre-start procedure mid-season, reducing the advantage that choice was designed to deliver. The smaller turbo, with its straight-line penalty, was left without the compensating benefit it had been designed around. The second ADUO token addresses this directly. A revised turbocharger specification, potentially a larger unit better suited to sustained high-speed power delivery, represents the kind of architectural change that the first token's combustion chamber focus simply could not provide. The most plausible timeline for its debut is the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. And now for the remarkable behind-the-scenes story from Silverstone. Ferrari's engineers analyzing the sprint start noticed that Mercedes had closed the gap in the initial launch phase. They took advantage of a regulatory provision to deploy a small amount of electrical energy above 50 kilometers per hour. In the paddock, it was being said that Mercedes, working on their electronics, had managed to close the gap off the lights after the Federation granted a 5-second extension to the start phase, allowing teams with a larger turbo to pre-charge the compressor and ensure safe starts. Ferrari, which had designed the 067-6 with a deliberately smaller Garrett turbine specifically to give its drivers explosive getaways, found itself disadvantaged. In the early races, it benefited from blistering starts, but then its rivals found the right countermeasures. On Saturday, Antonelli launched like a slingshot, matching Hamilton's getaway from pole and neutralizing Ferrari's small turbo advantage. The signal did not go unnoticed. If Mercedes in the sprint had learned from the Scuderia's deployment, releasing electrical energy in the second phase, Ferrari understood that the smaller turbo bonus was no longer enough. They decided to add a small hybrid assist, which the regulations only permit above 50 kilometers per hour. Leclerc and Antonelli both got clean starts off the clutch, just like Hamilton, who slightly anticipated the lights and earned himself a 5-second penalty. Into the first corner, both SF26s were leading, with Kimi third. Charles built his 10th Formula One victory in part thanks to that perfect launch. If Antonelli had been ahead, it would have been far more complicated to manage the pace against Mercedes. Analyzing the data, it becomes clear that up to 70 kilometers per hour, both cars were still almost level. Personally, I think this strategy is brilliant. Ferrari didn't just improve the car, they figured out exactly how to get the most out of the regulations. A small hybrid assist above 50 kilometers per hour that allowed Leclerc to launch perfectly. At Abbey, the Ferrari driver arrived at 282 kilometers per hour, while Antonelli was only at 260. Ferrari wants to become a real title contender in this championship. At Silverstone, they also freed up the horsepower from ADUO 1, significantly reducing the aerodynamic drag that had acted like a parachute at the Red Bull ring. The lesson had been learned. With 255 points in the Constructors' Championship and almost 100 points behind Mercedes, Ferrari can still believe in this fight. It won't be easy, but if the engineers continue improving the engine power and the management of the electrical side, the tenths recovered could prove decisive. Wolff admitted that Ferrari appeared to be launching upgrades at a pace that even surprised Mercedes. The red car has been bringing more updates at this stage to get ahead of the competition. Let's recap. Wolff admitted it, Ferrari has done something on the energy side. 15 kilowatts gained, 20 extra horsepower. Leclerc confirms it works on every track. It's not a Silverstone-specific modification, it's a structural change to the SF26. The third aerodynamic package arrives at Zandvoort after the summer break. ADUO 2, targeting the turbocharger, most likely at Monza within 5 races. The behind-the-scenes story of the start, with the hybrid boost above 50 kilometers per hour. Charles at 282 at Abbey, Antonelli at only 260. Ferrari arrives at Monza with 3 complete aerodynamic packages, an energy philosophy that works everywhere, and an upgraded turbocharger. This is no longer a car that will be described as having a clear weakness in the same way it has been described all season. The competitive picture from Belgium onwards changes completely. Let me know in the comments, do you think Ferrari can challenge Mercedes in the second half of 2026? And do you believe ADUO 2 will make the difference at Monza? Hit like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. That's all from us. See you next time.